Hello. Ah. Are you presenting? You have a PPT? Yeah, you can share it. No problem. Once we have our technical staff. I mean, one of my colleague will help you. There is someone is already there in the name called history. You see the symbol called symbol H and history. He is my colleague Marimutu. He would help you with these kind of technical problems. You just speak in the mic. Yeah. Okay, we'll start now. Good evening, everybody. Dr. C.JIM, JESUDOSS, VIJI Samuel, and friends. I welcome you all to this Birds Think lectures on topics of Nobel Prize areas. In social sciences, we all know, except economics, the rest of the disciplines, various areas where people are working, especially peace, the area of peace and harmony, and especially the development of marginalized sections and the displaced people and so on and so forth, and development of children. So in these areas only the Nobel Prize is being given. So in that case, I found Dr. C.JIM is a suitable person to talk about what he has been doing, what is the importance of working on the area of children's development, so on and so forth. So now let me say a few words about Dr. C.JIM. He is a founder and executive director of the Sakthi Vidiyal, which is a committed child rights practitioner and a development professional. He has 30 years of rooted experience in working on concerns of children from very challenging to difficult circumstances. He founded the Vidiyal program in 1996 in Madurai under the aegis of Sakthi. Today, Vidiyal provides a range of services to rescue, rehabilitate, and integrate children from socially marginalized communities and children from difficult circumstances. Sakthi Vidiyal work is rooted in 8 Madurai slums, linked with many regional, national networks and policy advocacy issues, providing leadership and content for transformative changes, especially on the issues of child participation. He is director of the Child Line Madurai and works closely with the Madurai District Administration in protecting children from crisis situations. Jim is a writer, thinker, and directed and staged many plays on a range of child issues. Jim served as the chairperson of the Child Welfare Committee, Madurai District between June 2012 and November 2018, and dealt with child issues in a judicial capacity entrusted by Government of Tamil Nadu. He served as a member of the Tamil Nadu State Child Policy Drafting Committee, nominated by the Tamil Nadu State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights. He has headed a forum for promotion of the child participation in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry for 2 years till August 2012. Heads the campaign against child trafficking in Tamil Nadu, a facilitator in national process regarding child participation, and has been a resource to some significant national, South Asian and international processes. Dr. C.JIM JESUDOSS.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to join you at this forum, and I really thank Professor Srinivas for inviting me for this important series of lectures. I'm much privileged and happy that I'm able to share some of my thoughts on this topic given to me today, for today's evening. So could you please help me with going with my presentation?
Yeah. Marimuthu,
Sir.
please guide him how to present it.
Sir. Sir, first உங்க PowerPoint open பண்ணிக்கங்க சார் ஸ்கிரீன்ல.
Yeah, it's available.
ஓகே சார். இப்போ வந்து ரைட் சைடு கார்னர்ல வந்து பிரசன்ட் நவுன்னு ஒரு இது இருக்குங்க சார். டிஸ்ப்ளேலே தெரியும்.
Yeah, it's there.
அதை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க சார்.
Yeah, I clicked it.
கிளிக் பண்ண உடனே விண்டோ கொடுங்க சார்.
Okay. Yeah.
விண்டோன்னு காட்டினப்ப PowerPoint நீங்க ஓபன் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கிற விண்டோ தெரியுதுங்களா சார் இப்போ?
Can you see my PowerPoint?
இல்ல நீங்க ஷேர் பண்ற வரைக்கும் பார்க்க முடியாது. நீங்க ஷேர் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் பார்க்க முடியும்.
A window, sir.
Now we are seeing.
Okay, sir.
Now we are seeing your presentation.
Okay, okay. 1 minute, just a minute.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused with this. Yeah.
Presentation is not visible yet.
Not visible?
Yeah.
Says you are presenting to everyone.
Yeah, but there is nothing on the screen. Yeah, now it is coming. Yeah, click again.
Can you see now?
No. Share it again. Share it again. Now it's gone.
Sorry about it.
Yeah.
You're presenting. It says you're presenting.
Yeah, but the screen is blank. We don't see anything. Screen is coming, but there is nothing. I mean, your slides are not visible.
Just a minute.
Yeah. இன்னொருத்தட மாரிமுத்து இன்னொருத்தட எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுங்க
sir.
Yeah. I'm clicking. It already says you are presenting.
Yeah, now it is gone again. Totally gone.
Okay. A window.
Yeah. Sir, first open your PowerPoint presentation view, sir.
Yeah, I've done it. Now you can see that.
Okay, sir. You present now a window or a window, sir. Present now.
Yeah,
okay, sir.
Now it is coming. Now it is coming.
Okay, sir.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
okay,
yeah.
now.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So the topic for this evening is celebrating childhood and championing child rights.
Yes.
This caption we have chosen for our Silver Jubilee celebration, which we had just 2 years ago. Do you like children? I would like to start my lecture with this question. Do you like children? I have been asking this. Yeah, I've asked this question to several forums, to several platforms, and normally we say yes, we all like children. So if all of us like children, why there is so much problem for children? That is the link I would like to take here. Everyone says they like children, but every day the problems of children are increasing. If you look at the newspaper, every day you see a lot of problems are reported. Even children are sexually abused, they are trafficked. So this is the question we should all ponder over. So I'm going to link this question to today's presentation, that when we see such thing, when we say that we like children, and when we see some children suffering, we should immediately respond. So this presentation is about a story of my life and how I responded, how it led to the beginning of VIJI. I'm going to share a little bit of my life with you, because nothing can be built in vacuum. That's what physical science and also life science says. So here I'm going to share about a dream of a little boy. This was about my encounter with reality when I was a 10-year-old child. I was in a village, in a small village under the foothill of Western Ghats, the village called Kombai. I was born into a middle-class family. I was looked after well. I was a very sickly child, but still I was looked after. I was given proper medication. But what I saw in that village really bothered me on two accounts. One is I saw poverty in the sense some of my friends didn't have 3 square meals a day. I was privileged to have 3 square meals a day, but some of my friends couldn't afford. They came to school just for the midday meals, and most of their families cooked only in the nights. So this made me to think why there wasn't enough for everyone in this world. And another thing I noticed in that village bothered me so much was casteism. In that village, the village was divided into caste segments. People lived in different parts of the village. Each caste was given a particular area, and especially the underprivileged, the so-called untouchables or the Dalits, they couldn't move out into the entire village. They are excluded from the main village. And another glaring thing I noticed was most of them were poor. They were unskilled laborers, and their children were not provided any basic needs. So this thing made me to think, why? But I couldn't find an answer as a young child. I moved because my family was a very democratic family. I could discuss and debate all these things, but still the search was there. When I reached college, the next picture of me shows I was in college in the first year. My dad got transferred to a place called Kambam. And in that place, again, I saw more structured poverty and structured casteism. So at that time, I took an oath to myself that I would at least educate 10 children in my life, 10 children from underprivileged backgrounds. I would provide them opportunities to get educated. That dream I nurtured, and that's how it led me to the path of founding VIJI. So after my college education, in the year between 1990 and 92, I joined the YMCA in the accounts department because I was basically a master's holder in BCom. I master's degree in commerce. I hold a MCom degree. Then I wanted to serve children. Though I was in the accounts department in the early days of my life, I always served in the program department as a volunteer. I served my time because during this earlier period of my life, during my college days, I developed some skills of storytelling or relating to children, organizing programs for children in a rural background. So this helped me to provide some of my skills and talents in the program department. I got opportunities to volunteer at programs for street children. That time in Madurai, there was one pioneering institution which had a big street children program. So I used to go there and volunteer there. On one of my visits to their shelter homes, I was really stunned, and that made me to think a lot, because the founder of that place, he took me around and introduced several children in English, and he was putting all kinds of label on children. He was saying that he's a pimp, he's a pickpocket, and he's a vagabond, and he's a rack picker, and all kinds of labels he used, which really I didn't question him that time. When I returned home, it really made me to think, why to put label on children? If at all we are going to serve children, why don't we accept children as they are? That was my immediate thinking that time. So with that thought, I continued my journey. Then in the year 1993, I was given more opportunities in the YMCA. I began my journey as a young social work professional in the YMCA. I moved from the accounts department, and I got opportunities in the program department and running a boys' home for YMCA. So that time, I got an opportunity to run a camp called Sunshine Camp at Kodaikanal. This camp was a changeover in my life, because in that camp, some of our friends joined together as volunteers, and I was the camp in charge as the young secretary of YMCA. And that time, I met a boy called Muthukumar, whom you see in the picture. He's much older in this picture, but when I met him, he was just 12 years old. So I met him, and meeting him was a turning point in my life. Though I had exposure of rural poverty, meeting Muthukumar brought new challenges in my life. And at the same time, Sakthi was registered, and my sister, Dr. Belinda Bennett, she took initiative to register that organization. So all these things happened in 1993 was a significant year in our journey.
Are you showing Muthu Kumar picture?
Yes, there's a picture, no?
No, the first slide is actually first slide only, the title slide.
It's not moving?
Yeah, it's not moving. Is it moving, Marmuthu? Is the presentation moving, Marmuthu? Marmuthu, is the presentation moving?
No, sir.
Yeah, so slide.
It's not
now
moving.
it is. Now it is fine. And now it is moved.
So now I'll keep like this. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason it's not working. For me it's moving, but I don't know why it's not moving for you all.
And now it is fine. Now it is fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we can see. Now we can see Muthu and dream to a little boy. Dream of a little boy.
Yeah. Only now you are seeing this.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing.
Okay. So I was talking about my early days, 1992. Okay, I'll move on this. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was the boy Muthukumar, whom I met in that camp. He kept that contact, and one day he asked me to come to his area. Till then, I didn't have a clue. Though I was working with street children for some time, I didn't have a clue of what is a slum like. So after 1993, that camp, Muthukumar invited me to his area. So that was a big changeover in my life, because I was challenged by what I saw in that slum, which is a big slum in Madurai. Even today, we are working there in ensuring children's rights. So between 1994 and 95, I call that as my formation days as a young social work professional. I'm happy to share these things, because the history department is organizing this. History is always tracking events and lifelines. And I was sent to YMC Training College for a formal training in action-based social work. Okay, though I don't possess a master's degree in social work, I was given this opportunity, which gave a lot of opportunity to read, reflect, and get into action. And as part of the block placement, I had the opportunity to work with street children of Bombay and Bangalore. And at the end of the year, we were asked to do a thesis, and I chose this topic: street children, a problem associated with modern development. And my thesis was selected as one of the best theses, and it got published by the training department. And I returned to Madurai after 1995. And 96, VIJI was initiated as a program of Sakthi. Because when I returned back, I couldn't continue my work with YMCA because of a lot of structured things there. I moved out and founded VIJI in 1996. Actually, literally, we founded VIJI on this abandoned well that was located inside the slum with a group of 20 street children there. So I move on to VIJI now. So why VIJI was founded? As I told you, when I entered that area, I was challenged, and when I looked at children on the streets, I was challenged within myself that I should do something for their life. Though my earlier commitment was to educate just 10 children, and this scenario really made me to think that I should move on in life, not get stuck with 10 children, but I should do something concrete for these children. So that's how VIJI came. And VIJI, as all of you know, it's a beautiful Tamil word, which means a new dawn, a new beginning. Okay, so we chose this name to ensure that children are provided with a new dawn, or to bring a new beginning in their lives. That's how we chose that name. And children also like this name. So till now, we use this name, though our registered organization is Sakthi. We use it Sakthi Vidiyal together because we believe that what children possess, what children belong to, should be our identity. And we call it a small beginning. And Vidiyal began its journey with street children. So at this point of time, I should tell you more about who are street children. Even today, the world is encountering this problem. Now we have been working with this focus, but still now every day lots and lots of children are coming to the streets. So who are street children? For a clear understanding, street children can be divided into 3 categories. The first one is children of the streets. Now, especially you will see these kind of children mostly in big cities like Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Bangalore. There children totally live on streets. They are totally cut off their families, cut off any adult contacts. They live in like a small communities with 3-4 boys, or sometimes they sleep under the bridge. So that's how their life exists. So they are totally cut off from any family ties. They are called children of the streets. Then children on the streets. Children on the streets are those children who have family ties, and but they come to the streets for finding out a living. Most of them, they work on the streets. They do rack picking, they do shoe shining, or sometimes they clean cars and 2-wheelers and any odd job. Sometimes they get into begging. So children on the streets, they have family ties. For 2-3 days, they don't go back to family. Someday they go back, but they have family contacts. And the third category is abandoned children. And abandoned children means even today we see people abandon children into dustbins, or even some older children. In one of the occasions, in my experience, one 9-year-old boy was brought to Madurai Matuthamani bus stand, and the mother told him that, please wait here, I'll go and come. And she never returned. And the boy was in utter shock. When we rescued that boy, he was in utter shock because he never thought his mother would abandon him. But still that happens. And sometimes we have come across parents abandoning 2-day-old, 1-week-old babies into garbages and garbage bins. So these things happen. And when little older children are abandoned, they completely let off on the streets to make out a living. So these 3 categories are forming street children. So our vision, we have made a vision statement which says every right for every child. It's a very overarching statement. It's very inclusive, but at the same time, I would like to tell you that when we say every right for every child, this every child we see through the eyes of children who are socially excluded, children who are exploited, children who are abused, children are put into very vulnerable, difficult circumstances. So through that eyes only we see this every child. Then our mission says empowering children through rights-based approach. And we call ourselves a rights-based organization. Ours is a child rights organization. So whatever we do, and we do from this point of view that we empower children through a rights-based approach. We don't do this just like a charity. VIJI is no longer a charity organization. It's a rights-based organization. So we are here to ensure that children's rights are ensured. And we do have a core belief. A core belief reads like this: we believe in children being the present and part of building a peaceful, just society. You would have all heard that it's always children are seen as future of the world. They're called future leaders of the world. But we believe that children are the present. Children being the present. Children are the present. Unless otherwise we protect their present, the future is never going to exist, which is very obvious. I've seen so many children, when their present is not protected, their future will just vanish away. So we believe in children being the present and part of building a peaceful and just society. Yes, children are part of this society. Children are young citizens of this country. So they can be part of building a peaceful, just society. And most of us, we mourn that what we have today as a society or as a world is not a happy place. So unless otherwise we invest in children and we believe in children, we make children as partners, we are not going to change anything in this world. The world's social order has to be changed. Only through the partnership with children it can be done. So that's our very strong belief that even today we practice. Then we have a set of values for ourselves, for our organization. The first one is every child is accepted. Whoever comes in contact with us, or when we go on a street visit, or when we receive a call about a child who's in very difficult circumstance, we accept every child. We don't put any label on any child. We have rescued children from a range of difficult circumstances, but when the child comes to us, we never label that child. As I told you, I had that bitter experience of getting introduced to children with labels, which I never do it. So every child is accepted as they are, and every child is entitled to dignity and respect. This is a core value that we follow in VIJI. We treat children with dignity and respect. This is one thing that we all should learn, and we should practice, because in our culture, basically in our culture, we don't respect children, and we think that children do not have dignity. But even a little child, even a newborn child, has dignity and respect. So we see that every child is entitled to dignity and respect. And every child is unique and has the innate capacity to achieve their potential. This also, we should believe that every child is unique. But today, what we see in this world, what the schools are trying to do is to make a herd management, which is totally wrong, because every child is unique and has potential, and we should just enable that child to achieve their potential. Then participation of child is central to every sphere of the organization. We believe, we are an organization that we believe in child participation. So in every sphere of the organization, 2 of our children participate in the management committee, and they are part of the decision-making process. And many times, what our children movement decides becomes the direction of the organization. So that's how we ensure children's participation. And discipline and boundaries are essential to build character. We believe that, yes, boundaries and discipline are essential, but it should not be at the cost of the child. Today, the families and schools, sometimes they practice discipline at the cost of the child, and corporal punishment is still rampant. Even today, we receive calls and we receive children who are affected by corporal punishments. The children should be taught about discipline. They should be part of understanding their development, and it all should be in their evolving capacity. We should ensure that children are disciplined. But it is very essential to build character. The family is the basic unit to provide security and care to every child. We have been running this shelter home for nearly 30 decades now. And I can say that whatever a family provides, an institution can never replace, which is true, because an institution can provide a short stay. It can provide a child a safe place for a temporary care, but family is the base unit. So our process is much focusing on strengthening families and communities. So how VIDIL operates? After saying all these things, I'm going to move into how VIDIL operates, how our day-to-day operations are there. And we have 4 dimensions. Our interventions are 4 dimensions. I'm very happy to let you know that the first 3 dimensions, street-based, center-based, and community-based, are those things that I visualized in my thesis when I worked with street children in Bombay and Bangalore. I visualized that was my action plan that I put forth, and we could really adapt that into VIDIL. Until now, it really works. And the first one is street-based interventions. In the street-based interventions, our focus is protection of children and their rights. And protection of children means, because many times children are run away to the streets. As I told you earlier, children off the streets, children on the streets, and abandoned children. All these 3 categories, they coexist in the streets. So unless otherwise, a protection measure is there for them. When a child is run away from home and stranded on the streets of Madurai or Trichy or Chennai, there is someone to look after that child, and the child's basic needs should be provided. So street-based interventions are very important, and it ensures protection for every child. So on the streets, what we do is winning the trust of the child, which was much challenging one. But we are very conscious that through our continuous efforts and sincere efforts, that we can win the trust of the child, because most of the children, street children who come to the streets, they don't trust adults because they are exploited, they are abused, they are thrown away on the streets by adults. So winning the trust is much challenging, but it is a possible thing also. The unconditional love given to every child, this is also very crucial, because normally we put conditions on children. If you do this, I'll love you. If you do this, I will like you. So that kind of conditions are there. But when it comes to street children who are already exploited and abused and thrown away, they need unconditional love. And finally, protection measures. Protection measures, as I told you earlier, immediate needs should be met, and some medical care should be there. Counseling support is there. So all those things are provided on the streets. And now, from 2012 onwards, we are given the responsibility of running child-line services in Madurai district. We are very happy for running this. Every year, we are receiving almost 800 to 1,000 calls, and we could reach out to many children. And now our street-based interventions are much taken care by child-line services, because it's recognized by government and the government mechanisms are there. So we are able to link all these services to the legally existing government mechanisms, and we are able to help children. And you all might be known this number, 1098. I always say this is a gift for children by Government of India, because now child-line services are existing in 700 places all over the country. Any child can call this number, or anybody who's interested to protect a child or provide a basic care for child, they can also call this number. And you need not to worry about your protection and your identity. When you call, you can say that your name should not be revealed. Our child-line staff members, they take an oath that they will not reveal the identity of the caller at any occasion. But I'm happy to tell you that every year we are able to save several lives through this initiative. So now I move into the shelter-based interventions. Shelter-based interventions, the focus is rehabilitation of children. Once we build rapport on the streets, we invite children to come to the shelter home. Now it's all mandated that children cannot live on the streets. So our child line or the police or any like-minded people can rescue a child and those child can be brought to the shelter home. So when they come to the shelter home, we provide again a range of services to those children, right from providing the basic needs, attention to their psychological needs, and play, recreation, and for their development. All those things are provided. When children are provided opportunities for getting moved in life, they're always ready to respond. So rehabilitation of children is the focus. And the shelter home, we call it a nest for wounded birds. Most of the children, almost every child who comes to the shelter home, they are wounded in some way or the other. Some of them have physical scars, some of them have psychological scars, some of them are hurt, some of them are sexually abused. So many things happen for children. That's why I always question that, do you all like children? If you really like children, why so many children have to come to the shelter home? So now we have the reception home. The early days of our journey from 1997 onwards, we initiated our own shelter home where we housed street children. It was an open shelter home, but now Government of Tamil Nadu has recognized our services, and we are given the opportunity to run the reception home under the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act in Madurai. Children are sent by High Court, District Court, Police, Child Line, and so many other players in the child protection mechanism. So we receive children 24/7, and they can be with us for a maximum period of 4 months. Within that period, children are produced before the Child Welfare Committee, and Child Welfare Committee is a judicial body, looks at the issues of the children. Sometimes parents are called or caregivers are called. If a child is totally abandoned and no one can be traced, those children are placed into long-term care into any of the children's home. So they are always there for us, with us for 4 to 6 months. In the meantime, their problems are resolved, and they move on into their life. I'm very happy to let you that in our shelter home, we ensure that the rights of every child is ensured, because child rights is the basic belief that we have, that if we protect the rights of children, they will flourish with all their potential. And they are there with us 24/7. So we do have a schedule for them from morning 6 o'clock to evening, night 10 o'clock till they go to bed. They have a routine to follow. They are given skill development. There is a drums class, because these children also have so much of energy and potential. So we do have a lot of physical activities. We have psychomotor activities for these children. They enjoy playing around, learning things, work in group, and resolve their issues. There is a counselor who also helps the children to resolve their issues, and finally they move into life. The third dimension of our work is community-based intervention, and here the focus is prevention. So you all may think that, what is prevention? What to prevent? One is preventing children from becoming street children. When you look at the phenomena of street children, they don't come from affluent class. They don't come from upper middle class. Mostly, they don't even come from middle class. They are mostly from the underprivileged communities or the lower income groups, the working class. So in that situation, children are thrown into vulnerability at a very young age. That's why they become street children. So our first focus is preventing children not becoming street children. And the second one is children not becoming child laborers. And children take up occupations at a very young age. So we are here to stop that. And so when you prevent all these two things, naturally children are able to enjoy their rights, enjoy their childhood, which has a very positive impact in their lives. And also we prevent any violations of children's rights. In most of the communities, some of the families, they practice abusive mechanisms to educate children or to groom children into several activities. So all these things are taken care of, and we work in 8 slum communities where we very much focus on preventing any sort of violation of children's rights. So in the community, prevention measures follows like this. The first focus is social exclusion is addressed. who are socially excluded. Caste, the unjust social order born to be a slave, has to be really thought over, because in our society, caste prevails everywhere, and which has a very strong hold on communities. Um, as a young child, when I was a 10-year-old child, I couldn't understand why there is this social exclusion, why people are treated differently. But here at VIDIAL, we address this issue that social exclusion is unjust. So children should be included in the mainstream society. They are not born to be a slave. They are born to win this world. And we also address structured poverty, because structured poverty ends up in breeding of slums. And many people, many poor people are, now the gap between the rich and the poor is widening. So we are also address that with the support of the families, with the partnership of the families. And we also see that ghettoization never helps children. So most of our slum communities, people are put into ghettos, and there the opportunities are less, the abusive situation is there, and children are born into vulnerability. So we see this as a very serious thing, very serious crime by humanity. And we try to address this issue by making children inclusive into the process that VIDIAL believes. So inclusion of the excluded children is our strategy that we follow. For that, we have initiated child resource centers. In all our work areas, we have child resource centers where children drop in for love. Basically, they want love from the caregivers, from the adults around them. So their parents are thrown into very serious poverty situations. So here we supplement that. Our children come to our centers and provide them a nurturing environment where they get education and also a supplementary meal and medical care, and they can pursue a dream. That's what is very important. They can pursue a dream. Most of the children you see here now, they are in college, because when they came into VIDIAL, nobody would have thought that, oh, these children can dream, and they can chase that dream. But now our children have made to several corners and several heights they've reached, and basically unconditional love and acceptance has done it. And widening the horizon of hope and every child, because a child who's born into the street or born in the slums or put into a very narrow space, the narrow space itself bringing a mental block in children. So here, widening the horizon of hope for every child. So we provide them a lot of opportunity. VIDIAL is basically an opportunity center for children to take part. They just try out their skills, what is their interest, taste, and everything. We have a children's theater group, we have a movie club, we have so many children's forums where they widen the horizon. And if you ask me, what is VIDIAL's work about? If I can say in one word, it's self-esteem building. Basically, we try and build the esteem of children. When we started VIDIAL, we saw many children, because of their socialization process, they used to have a very narrow self-image. They used to tie their hands like this, they bow down like this. It was the image they had. But over these years, we broke all those barriers. We provided them a lot of exercises in building self-esteem. When you build the self-esteem of the child, you'll see that how the child blossoms. That's a lovely thing to see. And for building self-esteem, we provide a lot of opportunity. Now a child of 5-year-old comes into VIDIAL. They can also come in between, but they start from 5 years until 18 years. They are children, and they get a lot of opportunities to build their self-esteem through many participatory programs and activities. And camping is a major activity they enjoy. And we also focus on rebuilding identities. See, children from excluded communities, they have a very negative identity about themselves. Even their culture is seen something negative. That's why I put this picture of children with parai. Our children can beat the parai with so powerfully, and they can bring out so powerful messages to the world. But building a positive identity about their present life is very, very important. So we help children again through a lot of processes, a lot of activities, a lot of therapeutic messages, we enable them to rebuild identities, and we enable them to grow beyond their caste identity, because caste is something that you can hold on to because it gives a kind of security within yourself. But here we always encourage children to grow beyond their caste identity, because caste is something imposed on you, and which never gives you a positive identity, or it always puts you in a vulnerable situation. So we enable children to grow beyond caste identities. Then creating opportunities for self-development. This is also a very important thing, that we believe that when children are provided opportunities for self-development, they blossom. And here you see a picture of boys with black belts. So far, we have developed more than 100 black belts, and many of them have taken as a vocation. They teach in several Madurai schools now. This again helps in building character and building discipline in children, because street children or slum children are seen that they are having antisocial elements. They are behaving like antisocials. That's how the outside world sees them. But we have seen that when we provide them structured opportunities for self-development, it results in self-discipline. And many of our children have made use of that opportunity. Now they are very successful in various career paths in life. Providing opportunities for education. As I told you earlier, children can chase a dream for any of the career that they want to choose, right from college education to vocational education. They can go up to master's degree. I can proudly quote two examples. One of our boys have completed PhD in Bharatdasan University. I should mention that. He has done his PhD in Bharatdasan University. Now he's working in Africa. He has done his PhD in social work department under the guideship of Madam Jerida. Now he's employed in Africa as a professor, as a head of the department. That's one success story. And I can also share another story that a 9-year-old boy was rescued from Madurai Periyar bus stand long ago. So the boy said he would never want to return back to this family, because we always try to, as we believe that family is the base unit, we try to reunite them with the families. But this boy said, no, I would not go back because my family is so abused, so exploited, so I will not. And we tried to put him in a school. He said, no, I will not continue my education because I've never gone to school, he said. Later, one fine morning, we saw him reading a newspaper in the shelter home. So we thought, you're able to read the newspaper, so you would have gone to school. Why don't you pursue? We encouraged him. And when we put him in a school, in an aided school, he really get hooked to the love of the teacher. The teacher was so loving and caring. And then he developed a dream for himself. He said, I'm going to become a teacher. And later, after completing 10th standard, he said, I'm going to become an English teacher. And you'll be surprised that this boy was rescued from the streets. Now he's an English teacher in a private school in Madurai. And one more success story about a girl child. She was born in a family of a cobbler and also as a scavenger. Her mother was sweeping in a private hospital, and her father was a roadside cobbler. And when this opportunity was education was provided, she has completed a master's in MSc nursing. She could complete, and took up a job in AIMS. Now she's working in AIMS in I think in Jharkhand, in Dehradun. She's working in Dehradun, I think. So that way, that is a few success stories I would like to share. I can share so many, but the time is not there. But what you should all understand is providing opportunities for education is crucial. Education can emancipate a child. It can really unleash the potential of the child, wherever they are, whatever position they come from, whatever background they come from. It can really enable them to climb the ladder. Okay, these are the three different dimensions I was talking about. That was part of my earlier thesis. But in 1997, a fourth dimension was added, to Vidiyal's intervention areas. That is promotion of child rights as the fourth dimension. See, the first thing happened was my natural response to what I see, the unjust social orders in this world, the poverty, the casteism. But 1997, I came to know about child rights. I came to know that the United Nations have created a document that is universal for every child in this world, which is called United Nations Convention of the Rights of the Child. And I also happen to know that in 1992, Government of India ratified it. So I was so thrilled. It brought so much of energy to the organization. So we adapted that as as the fourth dimension of our work. So our work area expanded beyond all the limits. We work in the largest society, not only in the slums, not only in the streets, not only in the shelter home. Our intervention area is the largest society, and the focus is promoting child rights, because we believe that promoting a culture of child rights will ensure a safe and a protected environment for every child. And every child's rights is protected, then the child will blossom with his or her potential. So, as I told you, 1992, Government of India ratified the UN CRC. In Tamil, we say Kulandai Urimikal Meedana Udanbadikai. So, that means Government of India has given a word before the world community that the present children and the future children of India will be ensured of their rights. So as citizens of this country, we feel that we are indebted to carry on this mission that Government of India has given a vow before the world community. So we, in VIDIAL, we ensure that we implement children's rights in every sphere of the organization and every sphere of other projects that we operate. So the Convention of the Rights of the Child has four important areas. The first one is right to life or right to survival. So every child has right to life, right to be born. But the piteous thing is, even today, children are denied of their right to be born. If you look at the child sex ratio, it's alarming. In Tamil Nadu, for every 1,000 male child, only we have 941 female children, which is really sad. That means for every 1,000 male child, 59 girl children are just removed from their fetus itself. They are not given any opportunity to be born, and this gender disparity is always there. Even today, girl children are put into a lot more vulnerability than the boys. Culturally, we should really think of these things. And another important thing when you talk about right to life is nearly 48% of our children are malnourished, not all over India. That is the Government of India statistics. So we have a long way to go in protecting and defending these rights. Then the second part is right to development. Every child has right to development. If you look at the UNCRC, it talks about right to education, which is given prime importance under this document. So right to development, every child, we are obligated to provide that. But unfortunately today, the gap between the affluent people and the poor people, the kind of education opportunities available for these two, three groups is so variant, and which is really sometimes made me to think. I feel really bad about it, because when I started my career as a young professional, I thought through education we can build this gap between the rich and the poor. And I also gave you a few examples how education can help people. But today, if you look at the education systems and the kind of schools that are coming up, the kind of exams that are coming up, our children from poor communities and marginalized communities from the streets are really threatened whether they'll be able to get a share in this world through education. So I leave that question to you to ponder over. And then right to protection. The UNCRC, most of the articles, large portion of articles talks about right to protection. In VIDIAL, our everyday struggle is this. The one important thing that I can share with you is, even today, child marriage is rampant. You see this in newspaper, you see this in Crime Record Bureau data. But what are we going to do about it? Right to protection is really at stake for girl children. It's mostly girl children are given in child marriages. We are losing our conscience that child marriage is a crime, child marriage is an offense, and also you're doing a wrong thing to your own child. So that kind of conscience is somehow we are missing here. And child sexual abuse is another alarming area which is really creeping in. I'm in one way I'm happy that after the arrival of POCSO Act, which is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, now the reported cases are increasing, which is a good sign for any society. But at the same time, lots and lots of our children are thrown into vulnerability, especially when you look at their engagement with gadgets and online social media and pornographic sites. It's really, really alarming. As a professional, I crossed my middle age and I'm really wondering within myself, how are we going to protect our children? Because many children are now hooked to online pornography, and later they are pushed into child sexual offense and sexual trade, and even India is the target for sex tourism, and so many things are happening around. So right to protection is a big area, but one happy thing is now we have a mechanism in the district level, state level, and the country level. We have child protection mechanisms, so we should be able to make use of these things. So I move on to right to participation. Right to participate, we always say that which is the most neglected right of a child. The right to participation means a child has a right to give opinion, right to express, right to participate, right to be part of. But in many cases, children are given an opportunity to be heard. I'm very happy that in the year 2000, our work from 1996 to 2000 enabled the emergence of VIDIAL child rights movement. Even today, which is a stronger children's movement, it's a movement by children, for children, of children. And we have many children's based groups and also children's forums, and they have elected representatives, they have direct elections, and they elect their representatives. Through that, they participate in a democracy. They participate in a model democracy when they are children. They take leadership positions, and many of them become defenders of child rights. That's what I would like to say. All these children whom you see, they in their own schools, they become defenders. They raise questions. When they see some unjust thing happening, they don't go just walked out, or they don't become bystanders. They always question. In that way, they have stopped so many child marriages. They rescued children and what not. And we also provided children with any opportunities for networking with other children's organizations, other child rights groups. So through that, they're able to come together and advocate for children's rights. The voices of the voiceless are now heard. And we have several district, state, and national networks where we encourage our children to take part. Even tomorrow, on the 31st, we have a national level workshop, and Tamil Nadu level, our organization is hosting that. And through this virtual media, we are able to connect with the national platform, and the children will be sharing their ideas about how to protect children from sexual abuse. Then comes the volunteer program. So how we operate today is with the support of our volunteers. Our volunteers are nobody other than our own children who reach college. They commit themselves to give back to the society, which is a very nice thing, very beautiful thing to see. It's a transformation that happens within themselves, within the community, that a child who's on the receiving end, receiving all the benefits, receiving love and care, receiving child rights, now they are able to give back to their own fellow children, to their own community. So we recognize them as our volunteers. We have a separate volunteer program. We have given them opportunities for self-development. We provide them trainings and opportunities for training outside the organization. So they are doing a undergraduation. They are with us for 3 years. They are doing a master degree. They are with us for 5 years. Some of them even stick on up to 6 years. And because they received all those things from the organization, they know the philosophy of the organization. They imbibe all the values of the organization. So they do wonders in the community. And our child rights education centers are violence-free centers. So volunteers know that we defend child rights. So they don't beat children. So they accept children and provide them a caring environment. So once they complete college education or post-graduation, we enable them to find a job, occupation. They also explore what are the possibilities. We connect them with several groups, and they make success. They are the success stories of our organization. They are called Oliru Muhangal, or volunteers are called Muhangal, and they are called Oliru Muhangal. Yes, they are really shining stars in the community. And every 3 years, we run a graduation ceremony for them. We do it within the community so that the community watches the graduation ceremony in awesome, because they never thought their children can reach these levels, these positions. And though we encourage children to climb the ladder of the academic ladder, at the same time, we do nurture those who have technical skills. One of our boys who just completed 10th standard, who's an excellent photographer, designer, computer graphic designer in Madurai now. He's making out a living. He's also providing jobs. And we have electricians, we have mechanics. So those kind of vocational stream also we encourage. And we have lawyers, and we have managers, or in reputed organization, our children are placed in very high positions. And one other thing is, our children also, when they go back to the world, they take up occupation. They're very busy with their life, but at least once, twice, or thrice a year, they make sure that they come back and they become role models for the younger ones. So for the younger ones, it's a beautiful thing to see that the little children of 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7, they see these young girls and boys from their own communities, that they think, oh, if this Anna could achieve this, if Akka could achieve this, why not me? So those kind of positive synergy effect it creates, and children are able to move forward in their life, whatever difficulties they face within their life. I'm almost coming closer to my last few slides. So here it leads a question to, can we change the whole world? Is it possible? No, it's not possible, because within our capacity, within our potential, we won't be able to change the whole world. If I look my life, as a 10-year-old, I was thinking about what can I do. Then as a 17-year-old boy, I thought I can educate 10 children. But my life path took me to this level. Now, through VIDIAL, we are able to help hundreds and thousands of children to break through the barriers of caste, or gender discrepancy, or any abuse, whatever disadvantaged background they are put in. They're able to break through that, and now they're able to raise their heads above anything and say that, yes, we have achieved. Yes, if that is possible, I see this as creating a ripple in the community, in the society. Yeah, that's why I say, but we can create ripples which would impact millions. You know, throwing a stone will create ripples. Create ripples. So here, as young people, most of you are young students here, and you can take this from my life story, from the story of VIDIAL, that throwing a stone and creating ripples is very, very effective if you really do it with conviction and also with commitment. People always say that, how do you manage your finance? I always say that if you really do committed service, if you're honest and sincere in your work, the financial support will come to you. and people will recognize it. So today, my dream is no longer my dream. It's a dream of everyone, even Madurai's own Vidiyal. So many people say that it's our Vidiyal. In the community says there's younger Vidiyal. So that's how we have moved from the dream of a little boy to a dream of the community and the society and the larger society. So I really call you here. Together we can make child rights a reality of our times, which is possible. With the partnership of children, and children don't get stuck with their lives. They grow beyond 18 years. Life moves on, but taking them as partners, definitely we can make child rights a reality of our times. So I take this opportunity to thank you all very much for your patient listening. And I think I've made my point clear. And the story I shared with you this evening is a story that can be replicated from your lives, from your life paths. Though I was born in a middle-class family, I was provided all my needs. I was never privileged with loads and loads of resources. I've seen things and responded. That's how I sizzled my life path. That's how I carried my life in that path with that disadvantaged people. And today I see myself as a protector of children's rights. I'm a child rights defender. So I see this in a very holistic perspective, which happened over these years with the response that I gave. So I really want to give a call to you that look at things around you, whatever you see around you, whatever happens around you. When you see a child in distress, respond to that, because that is the beginning that you have to do. Then life has so much for you to move on, and you'll become a shining star one day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jim, JESUDOSS. In fact, I think he was mentioning about a student who studied in Bharatidasan University. So I met him, then I came to know about Jim's work. And so then on I've been trying. Yeah. I think if you allow me to mention his name, I still remember his name.
Okay,
so,
you can.
Yeah, I think his name is Arafat, I believe. So
You're right. His name is Arafat. Yeah.
So yeah, after one of my lectures in his department, he came, and I was looking for a person to talk about child rights, sponsored by the National Human Rights Commission. So then, so he mentioned you, and anyway, we got the clearer picture certainly. Then on, I've been trying to invite you to give a lecture also about the child rights, and then it was a special lecture. Now, of course, it is very suitable, lecture to the Birds Think Nobel Prize lectures, of course.
Nice. Thank you very much for that information. It really energized me.
Yeah.
Got the connection through Arafat, and our children, when they break through the barriers, they don't hesitate to give their names. Okay, because they are role models. They want to share that what are things they could break and make out a living, and how they chase their dreams and reach this level. So it's okay to refer, and I'll send a message tonight to Arafat about this.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Most of our participants, of course, know most of the things, but however, they came to a comprehension that society keep producing the children insignificant. They consider them as insignificant, unwanted, unnecessary, and the society, capitalism, patriarchy, caste, and class keep producing these children. And the amount of contribution it does, the consciousness in the society is not enough to address the problem. As you spoke about it, actually, how much we can do? Can we change the world? Of course not at individual level. But however, as you gave a call for joining with you, certainly, it's one of my friends, in fact, Prama Ravati, is running a school in Nagapatnam called Vanaville. You must be knowing about her.
Yeah.
So these are selfless work need to be appreciated. I think every human need to contribute whatever way they can, because people in the margins, especially the children, or the children, they are not at mistake what they are if they are in the streets. It is the society which is actually need to be taken care about it. So thank you very much for explaining. We will only allow few questions or doubts or any suggestions, whatever. Only few, probably 3, because we are running short of time.
Sure, sir. I'm willing to take it. Yeah.
So anybody, only 3.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Kelunga. Please ask.
Okay. Sir, கேக்குதா நான் பேசுறது?
கேக்குது.
Sir, actually எனக்கு ஒரு அப்சர்வேஷன் இருக்கு. அதோட ஒரு சின்ன கேள்வி இருக்கு. நான் இப்ப சமீபமா ஒரு நூல் ஒண்ணு படிச்சேன், ஒரு புக் ஒண்ணு படிச்சேன். அது ஸ்ரீலங்கன் தமிழ் டிரான்ஸ்ஜெண்டர் அவங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எழுதின ஒரு பயோகிராஃபி. அதாவது இலங்கை தமிழ் மக்கள்லயே முதலையாக திருநங்கை ஒருத்தவங்க ஒரு நூல் எழுதியிருக்காங்க. அவங்க தனுஜான் பேரு, ஜெர்மன்ல இருக்காங்க. இப்போ 29 years old. அவங்க மெடிக்கல் ஸ்டூடெண்டா இருக்காங்க. ஸோ அந்த புக் வாசிக்கும் போது எனக்கு பர்சனலா ரொம்ப ஒரு மாதிரியான ஒரு மனநிலையை எனக்கு கொடுத்த பகுதி என்னன்னு சொல்லி பார்த்தா சைல்டு அபியூஸ். இப்போ இன் ஜெனரல் நம்ம சைல்டு அபியூஸ் சொல்லும் போது ஆண் குழந்தை பெண் குழந்தை பத்தி பேசுறோம். குறிப்பா பெண் குழந்தை சார்ந்துதான் நம்ம அதிகமா யோசிக்கிறோம், செக்ஷுவல் அபியூஸ் குறிப்பா. இப்போ ஓரளவுக்கு ஆண் குழந்தைகள் பத்தியும் பேச வந்திருக்கோம். ஆனா திருநங்கைகளா இருக்கிறாங்க இல்லையா, இந்த டிரான்ஸ் பீப்புள், குயர் பீப்புளுடைய சைல்ட்ஹுட் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அது கம்ப்ளீட்டா செக்ஷுவல் அபியூஸ்வாலதான் அதிகமா இருக்குங்கிறது நான் உங்க நூல் வாசிக்கும் போது தெரியுது. அதை ஒட்டி சில புத்தகங்கள் ரெஃபரன்ஸ் பார்க்கும்போது ஒரு திருநங்கையும் ஒரு நார்மலான ஆண் குழந்தையும் ஒரு பெண் குழந்தையும் தன்னோட வாழ்நாள்ல சந்திக்கிற இந்த செக்ஷுவல் அபியூஸை விட பல மடங்கு இந்த டிரான்ஸ் பீப்புள் குழந்தையா இருக்கும்போது இதை ஃபேஸ் பண்றாங்கிறது நமக்கு தெரிய வருது. சோ எங்கேயோ ஒரு இடத்துல இந்த சொசைட்டில, ஈவன் நம்ம ஃபேமிலி சிஸ்டம்ல, இந்த சிஸ்டம்ல நமக்கு சில அவேர்னஸ் இருக்கு, சில வரையறைகள் இருக்கு. ஒரு ஆண் குழந்தைனா இப்படி எல்லாம் வளர்க்கணும், ஒரு பெண் குழந்தைனா இப்படி எல்லாம் வளர்க்கணும்ன்ற ஒரு வரையறை இருக்கு. சோ இதே ஃபேமிலி சிஸ்டம்ல ஒரு டிரான்ஸ் குழந்தை நம்ம கிட்ட இருக்கு, அது அந்த மாதிரியான தன்மையோட இருக்குங்கும் போது அது கம்ப்ளீட்டா நம்ம ஃபெயில்டா நம்ம இருக்கிற மாதிரி எனக்கு தோணுது. ஏன்னா நம்ம கிட்ட அது குறித்தான அவேர்னஸ் கிடையாது. அந்த குழந்தை எப்படி வளர்க்கணும், எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ணணும், சோ இதெல்லாமே ரொம்ப காம்ப்ளெக்ஸா இருக்கிற மாதிரி எனக்கு தெரியுது. அவங்க புக்லயே அவங்க ரொம்ப கிளியரா ஒரு இடத்துல சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க. என்னோட சைல்ட்ஹுட்ல எனக்கு நடந்த செக்ஷுவல் அபியூஸ எங்க அம்மா காது கொடுத்து கேட்டிருந்தாங்களோ, இல்ல அது ஒரு சீரியஸான விஷயமா நடந்திருந்தாலோ என்னோட லைஃப் நல்லா இருந்திருக்கும் அப்படின்றத அவங்க சொல்றாங்க. அது உண்மையாவே பல விஷயங்களோட கனெக்ட் பண்ணி பார்க்கும்போது அதை நம்ம ரொம்ப சீரியஸா கவனம் எடுத்து இந்த ஃபேமிலி சிஸ்டம்ல அதை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணிருந்தா இவங்க பாலியல் தொழிலோ இல்ல மற்ற ஆண்கள் அவங்களை எளிதா பாலியல் தேவைக்காக அணுகிறது, இந்த மாதிரியான விஷயங்கள் வேற மாதிரி இருந்திருக்கும் அப்படின்னு எனக்கு தோணுது. இப்ப நீங்க நிறைய ஒர்க் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, இப்ப குழந்தைங்க கிட்ட வேலை செய்யறீங்க. சோ இந்த மாதிரி டிரான்ஸ் கம்யூனிட்டில குழந்தைகள் சார்ந்த பிரச்சனைகள் எதிர்கொள்றாங்க இல்லையா, சோ இந்த மாதிரியான விஷயங்கள் ஏதாவது நீங்க பாத்திருக்கீங்களா சார்? இல்ல இது
ரொம்ப உணர்வுபூர்வமா உங்களுடைய அந்த வாசிப்பையும் அதுல ஏற்படுத்தின தாக்கத்தையும் பகிர்ந்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க. ஆக்சுவலா டிரான்ஸ் கம்யூனிட்டி குழந்தைங்கன்னு ஒரு பிரிவே கிடையாது. ஆக்சுவலா அதாவது குழந்தைங்க இயல்பாதான் சமூகத்துல பிறக்குறாங்க, குடும்பத்துல பிறக்குறாங்க. ஆனா அவங்க வளர்க்கப்படுற விதம், அவங்க மீது நிகழ்த்தப்படுகிற பாலியல் வன்முறை, இது போன்ற விஷயங்கள் தான் அவங்கள வேறொரு நிலைக்கு கொண்டு போகுது. பொதுவா சொல்லுவாங்க டிரான்ஸ் குழந்தைங்கள அவங்களுக்குள்ள கெமிக்கல் இம்பேலன்ஸ் இருக்கும், பயாலஜிக்கலி அவங்க டிஃப்ரெண்டா ஃபீல் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இது ஒரு ஆர்குமெண்ட் இருந்தா கூட என்னோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்ல நான் பார்த்திருக்கேன். அவங்களுடைய அந்த புத்தக வாசிப்பையும் அது என்டாஸ் பண்ணுது. பெரும்பாலும் குழந்தைங்க யார் அபியூஸ் அதிகமா ஃபேஸ் பண்றாங்களோ அவங்க தன்னுடைய பால் இயல்பு குறித்த சந்தேகத்துக்கு உள்ளாகுறாங்க. குறிப்பா அந்த இளமை பருவத்துல ஒரு ஆண் குழந்தையா பிறந்த ஒருத்தர் அடிக்கடி பாலியல் வன்முறைக்கு உள்ளாகுறாங்கன்னா அவங்க தன்னுடைய பாலியல்பை தொலைச்சிருவாங்க. நாளடைவுல தன்னை பெண்ணாக பாவிக்கிற அந்த அபியூசரும் அப்படிதான் பண்ணுவாங்க, அந்த குழந்தையும் அப்படிதான் ஃபீல் பண்ண வச்சிருவாங்க. அதனால நாளடைவுல அதுக்கு தள்ளப்படுறாங்கன்றதுதான் உண்மை. எங்களோட அனுபவத்துல நாங்க இந்த பால் திரிபு ஏற்படுகிற குழந்தைகளை நாங்க சந்திக்கிறோம். தொடர்ச்சியாக எங்களுடைய கம்யூனிட்டிஸ்ல பாக்குறோம், சைல்ட் லைன்ல பாக்குறோம். அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது அவங்கள குறித்த ஒரு ஏற்பு வந்து இந்த சமூகத்துல இல்லை. இப்ப நாங்க என்ன பண்றோம்னா, நாங்க ஒர்க் பண்ற ஏரியாஸ்ல வந்து பேரண்ட்ஸ்குள்ளேயும் சரி, அந்த பியர் குரூப் இருக்கு இல்லையா, பியர் குரூப் தான் ரொம்ப அவங்கள வந்து வயலண்டா டீல் பண்றாங்க. பியர் குரூப் தான் அவங்களை அபியூஸ் பண்ணவே ஆரம்பிக்கிறாங்க. அப்ப அந்த சில்ட்ரனுக்கு வந்து தொடர்ந்து நாங்க வந்து இன்டர்வீன் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருக்கிறோம். அதாவது சைல்ட் ரைட்ஸ்ங்கிறது வந்து உனக்கு மட்டும் கிடையாது, எல்லாரையும் உள்ளடக்குனது. ஸோ உன்னுடைய சக ஒரு தோழனை வந்து நீ வந்து ஏற்றுக்கொள்ளணும். அந்த பெண் தன்மையோட இருக்கிற ஆண் குழந்தைங்க இருந்தாங்கன்னா அவங்கள கிண்டலுக்கு உள்ளாக்குறது, அவங்க மீது வந்து ஒரு தவறான தொடுதலை வந்து ஏற்படுத்துறது, இது போன்ற விஷயங்களை வந்து நாங்க தொடர்ந்து குழந்தைகளோட கலந்துரையாடுகிறோம். அது குறித்த பயிற்சி பட்டறைகளை ஏற்படுத்தி இருக்கிறோம். எங்களுக்கு வந்து செக்ஸ் அண்ட் செக்சுவாலிட்டி பத்தி வந்து ஒரு 5 day ஒர்க் ஷாப் இருக்குது. அதுல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா கம்ப்ளீட்டா வந்து சில்ட்ரனுக்கு வந்து இந்த பால் நிலையும் பால் திரிபு பத்தியும் புரிதலை ஏற்படுத்துறதுக்கு முயற்சி பண்றோம். அது மூலமா அந்த குழந்தைங்களை அக்செப்டன்ஸ் வந்து கொண்டு வர்றதுக்கு சில முயற்சிகள் எடுத்துக்கிறோம், சில வெற்றியும் பெற்றிருக்கிறோம். ஆனா முழுமையான வெற்றியான்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா இல்ல. இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் சில நேரத்துல வந்து சைல்ட் லைன் மூலமா ரெஸ்கியூ பண்ற ஒரு குழந்தைய வந்து அவங்க பேரண்ட்ஸ் வந்து ஏத்துக்கவே மாட்டேன், இவன் வேண்டவே வேண்டாம் அப்படின்ற அந்த ரிஜெக்ஷன் அண்ட் நெக்லெக்ட் வந்து ரொம்ப இருக்குது. அதுதான் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த குழந்தைங்க வந்து அந்த திருநங்கை சமூகத்துல போய் இணைஞ்சுக்கிறாங்க. அங்க இணைஞ்சுக்கும் போது அவங்களுக்கு முழுமையான பாதுகாப்பு, ஒரு உணர்வுபூர்வமான பாதுகாப்பு கிடைக்குது, சைக்கலாஜிக்கல் ப்ரொடெக்ஷன் அவங்களுக்கு கிடைக்குது. ஆனா அதே சமயம் பிசிக்கல் சேஃப்டி இருக்கான்னா இல்ல. அங்கேயும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த குழந்தைங்களை எக்ஸ்ப்ளாய்ட் பண்றாங்க. திருநங்கையா இருக்கிற ஒரு இளம் பையனோட ஒரு உடலுறவு வச்சுக்கிட்டா அது நல்லதுன்ற ஒரு மனோபாவம், அது பத்த மூட நம்பிக்கைகள் நிறைய இருக்குது. அப்படி எக்ஸ்ப்ளாய்ட் ஆன குழந்தைகளையும் நாங்க சந்திக்கிறோம். அதனால தொடர்ந்து செய்ய வேண்டிய ஒரு விஷயம். இப்ப இந்த அடுத்த மாசம் கூட எங்களுடைய பணியாளருக்கு ஒரு பயிற்சி ஏற்படுத்தி இருக்கிறோம். குறிப்பா வளரிளம் பருவத்தில் இருக்கிற இந்த பால் திரிபு ஏற்படுகிற குழந்தைகளை வந்து இன்னும் புரிந்து கொள்வதற்கும், அவங்கள குறித்த கவுன்சிலிங் சர்வீஸ் எப்படி ப்ரொவைட் பண்ணலாம், அவங்க பேரண்ட்ஸ் எப்படி அப்ரோச் பண்ண வேண்டியிருக்குது, இது போன்ற விஷயங்களை செய்யறதுக்கு முயற்சி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆனா அது ஒரு நீண்ட நெடிய பயணம் தான்.
கரெக்ட் சார். இல்ல நீங்க சொல்ற பாயிண்ட்ல எனக்கு நான் உடன்படுறேன். பட் அது ரொம்பவுமே எனக்கு ரொம்ப டிஸ்டர்பான ஒரு விஷயமா இருந்தது. ஏன்னா பேரண்டிங் அப்படிங்கும் போதே நமக்கு நம்ம நாட்டுல வந்து நம்ம அதை எப்படி பாக்குறோங்கிறதுலயே நிறைய சிக்கல் இருக்கு இல்லையா. சோ எங்கேயோ ஒரு இடத்துல சைலண்டா இந்த குயர் பீப்புளுக்கான அசால்ட்ஸ் வந்து செக்ஷுவல் வயலன்ஸாவோ இல்ல வந்து பிசிக்கல் வயலன்ஸாவோ நடந்துகிட்டே இருக்கு. சோ இது நான் பர்சனலா நான் என்ன ஃபீல் பண்றேன்னா, இது வந்து இந்த சொசைட்டில ஒரு சேஞ்ச் வரணும். அந்த சேஞ்ச் எங்க இருந்து வரணும் அப்படின்னா குடும்பத்துல இருந்து, பெற்றோர்கள் கிட்ட. அப்படி நமக்கு ஒரு குழந்தை இருந்ததுன்னா அத வந்து மற்ற குழந்தை, ஆண் குழந்தை, பெண் குழந்தை பிறந்தா நம்ம எப்படி வளர்க்கிறோமோ அது மாதிரியான ஒரு மனநிலைக்கு வரக்கூடிய ஒரு குடும்ப சூழல் வந்து இங்க உருவாகணுங்கிறது ரொம்ப அடிப்படையா இருக்குன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
கண்டிப்பா.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, sir.
Only one question. Next question is already there in the chat box. So there is one question. This is last.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, actually, before some 3-4 years, engineering was the craziest thing which people opted, sir. In engineering colleges, usually they always treat boys and girls like aliens, sir. So this obviously creates some when they enter into the society, they still see people as the opposite gender as aliens. So this is also one reason I feel something this is also a reason for this sexual abuses, because if they see the opposite as aliens, automatically the thing is more for them, sir. This is they see them as a different person, like that. I think that this should be reduced, I think, sir.
Yes, exactly, Shyam. I totally agree with you. See, girls and boys have to work together. They should understand each other. Women and men have to work together. In the largest society, men and women, they work together. In the family, men and women are there. But unfortunately, some cultural taboos are there. So that's why girls and boys are totally different. Even in some schools, they treat children so badly. In Madurai, in one of the famous school, they can't even, it's a co-education school, but the boys cannot even turn their eyes that side. If they turn their eyes, they'll be beaten brutally. Okay, so that's a very narrow understanding and perspective of human development is there. If you look at the development psychology, both girls and boys, they evolve together. So I very well agree with you. There should be a major shift in this area. In VIDIAL, what we practice is all our programs are for boys and girls together. And we do encounter with infatuation. Children are 14, 15, they say they are falling in love with the other guy. All those things happens, but that's part of their natural development. But we are here to help them and guide them. The family should do it for this natural development. Otherwise, we are going to separate them. As you said, the abuse is going to be increased so much because we are putting them into an unnatural situation, which will not enable them to understand each other. Thank you for that observation, Shyam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So one more question written in the chat box. Learning disabilities by Murugan J. Learning disabilities of children has not been accepted by parents and even the teachers to certain cases. Even if identified, no efforts to make any measures. Your opinion about it?
Yeah, you see, one big problem today is it mostly prevails in the middle class and upper middle class. They want all their children to be genius. Okay, it is also slowly catching up the underprivileged sector also. See, every child is unique. As I told you, a child may be very good at logics. A child may be very good at scientific understanding. But we should understand that there are children who can do other things, who are very skilled in other things. But basically, we have a scale for all children, the same scale for all children. So when you have the same scale, it measures a particular child as a genius, another child as a moron, imbecile, or a child who cannot understand things. Even labeling children as slow learners will have some impact. What we should understand is, yes, the child has a learning disability, but we should provide support mechanisms to enable that particular child to overcome that. So even now we are talking about the rights of disabled people, but learning disability is a very subtle thing that happens. So in a class of 50, 100 children, a few children are just neglected and their needs are not attended to. So what I would propose is, there should be a big change. You're all young people, you're students. When you, in the future, when you get into positions, when you get into policy making bodies, try to change this perspective. We should provide opportunities for children to explore their potential. A child may be a good photographer. A child may be a good chef. So all those things. I'm not going to support Kula Kalvi or caste tagged occupations, but I'm very conscious that a child should be provided opportunities to explore what that particular person can do. So that will give him strength, give him or her strength, and that's how they build their self-esteem. Otherwise, it will be one-sided. Just we are looking at the academic success. Those who are academically doing well, those who are scoring good marks, those who can crack NEET exams and JEE exams, they only will have a solid share in this world, which is totally unfair.
Hello, sir. Sorry for the disturbance. One more question in continuation to that, what I've asked now. I'm Murugan.
Yes,
sir, just I would like to share my experience with 2-3 children. வந்து ஒரு பஸ்ல வரும்போது ஒரு பையன் வந்து ஹைப்போதைராய்டிசம் நான் டவுட் பண்றேன் பிகாஸ் ஐ ஹாவ் மை எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வித் மை சைல்டு. அப்படி இருக்கும்போது அந்த குழந்தை அந்த அம்மா வந்து இல்லிட்ரேட்டு பேரண்ட், பட் வந்து அந்த பையனோட கண்டிஷன் தெரியாம அந்த பையனை போட்டு அவ்வளவு அடி அடிக்கிறாங்க. ரைட் ஃப்ரம் மெட்ராஸ் டில் சிதம்பரம் ஐ had been watching that. அந்த அம்மா அந்த பையனை பத்தி புரிஞ்சிக்காம அவ்வளவு அடி அடிக்கிறாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு அட்வைஸ் பண்ணேன். ஜஸ்ட் வாட் டிட் தே டூ ஐ டிட் நோ. பட் ஒன் மோர் திங், இந்த திருச்சி இட்செல்ஃப் ஒரு நல்ல பொசிஷன்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய ஃபேமிலி. அந்த ஃபேமிலியில ஒரு பையனுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி லேர்னிங் டிஃபிகல்டிஸ் இருக்கு, அவனுக்கு ஹைப்போதைராய்டிசம் இருக்குன்றது அம்மாவுக்கு தெரிஞ்சு டயக்னாஸ் பண்ணி பேரண்ட்ஸும் அது டாக்டர் வந்து சொல்றாங்க இதை ஃபாலோ பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. பட் அந்த இடத்துல ஒரு நல்ல பொசிஷன்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய ஹஸ்பண்ட், இந்த அம்மா வந்து ஒரு நல்ல இது போலீஸ் ஆஃபீஸர், அவர் ஒய்ஃப் ஹஸ்பண்ட் வந்து வேற ஒரு இதுல இருக்கிறாங்க, அவரு ஹஸ்பண்ட் வேற பொசிஷன்ல இருக்கிறாரு. அவரு வந்து இது என்னுடைய சோசியல் ஸ்டேட்டஸ், வெளியிலேயே அது தெரியக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி இந்த மாதிரி கண்டிஷன், இந்த மாதிரி சில விஷயங்கள். இது ஒரு இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் சார். இந்த ஸ்கூல்லயே நிறைய பேரண்ட்ஸ் டீச்சர்ஸ் சொல்லும் போது அக்செப்ட் பண்றதே இல்லை. இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்களை நீங்க ஏதாவது முயற்சி பண்றீங்களா சார்?
ஆமா, கண்டிப்பா. அதாவது எஃபெக்டிவ் பேரண்டிங் பத்தி நாங்க கொஞ்சம் கிளாஸஸ் பண்றோம். அது அண்டர் பிரிவிலேஜ் எங்க கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் பாத்தீங்கன்னா ரெகுலரா மந்த்லி மீட்டிங்ஸ்ல we enable parents to understand their children. அதாவது எல்லா குழந்தைங்களும் ஒரே மாதிரி பார்க்காதீங்கன்றத ஸ்கூல்ஸ்ல வந்து டீச்சர்ஸ்க்கு we run programs and workshops. நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி பேரண்டிங்கை வந்து இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஒரு அது ஒரு என்ஜாயபிள் ஒரு ஆர்ட் மாதிரி அது. ஆனா இன்னைக்கு வந்து எப்படி பாக்குறாங்கன்னா ஒரு ஸ்டேட்டஸ், மத்தவங்க நினைப்பாங்க. அவங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி திருநங்கையா இருந்தாலும் அதே தான் பிரச்சனை. என் குழந்தை வந்து ஒரு பெண் தன்மையோட இருந்துச்சுன்னா அதை அக்செப்ட் பண்ண மாட்டேன். ஏன்னா மத்தவங்க சொசைட்டி என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, அவங்க என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, இப்படி மத்தவங்களுக்காகவே வாழ்ற ஒரு சமூகத்துல நம்ம இருந்துட்டு இருக்கிறோம். அதனால பேரண்ட்ஸ் வந்து கண்டிப்பா அவங்க குழந்தைங்களை வந்து புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். அதுவும் இனி வரும் காலத்துல புரிஞ்சுக்காட்டி அதனுடைய விலையை வந்து பேரண்ட்ஸ் தான் கொடுக்க போறாங்க. ஏன்னா இப்பயே பார்த்தா நிறைய குழந்தைங்க வந்து சைக்கலாஜிக்கல் இஷ்யூஸோட இருக்கிறாங்க. இந்த கவுன்சிலிங் நீட் ஹாஸ் இன்க்ரீஸ், சைக்காட்ரிக் நீட் ஹாஸ் இன்க்ரீஸ். அப்படி இருக்கும்போது பேரண்ட்ஸ் வந்து என் குழந்தைய நான் அக்செப்ட் பண்றேன், என் குழந்தைய புரிஞ்சுக்க முயற்சி பண்றேன் அப்படின்ற அந்த ஸ்டேட்டஸ்க்கு போகணும். குழந்தை வளர்ப்பு என்பது ஒரு கலை என்பதை அவங்க புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். அது மூலமா தான் மாற்றத்தை கொண்டு வர முடியும். நீங்களும் நானும் என்ன செய்யலாம்னா தொடர்ந்து இந்த பணியை வந்து நம்ம அளவுல எவ்வளவு முடியுமோ அது செய்யலாம். நான் அதான் சொல்லுவேன் இல்லையா, நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி என்னோட ஸ்லைட்ஸ் சொன்ன மாதிரி நம்ம ஒரு எல்லாத்தையும் நம்ம பண்ண முடியாது. பட் ஹவு மச் யூ கேன் பைட்னு ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்குது. அதனால என்ன முடியுமோ அதை நம்ம செய்யறதுக்கு ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி நீங்க என்ன செய்யலாம், ஒருவேளை அந்த கம்யூனிட்டியை பொறுப்பெடுத்து அங்க இருக்கிற பேரண்ட்ஸ்க்கு தொடர்ந்து அவங்களுக்கு வந்து இன்புட் கொடுக்கறது மூலமா மாற்றங்கள் கொண்டு வரலாம். எங்க கம்யூனிட்டிஸ்ல நாங்க ஓரளவுக்கு வெற்றி பெற்றிருக்கிறோம். எந்த பேரண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் தொடர்ந்து எங்களுடைய மீட்டிங்ஸ்க்கு வர்றாங்க, ஒர்க் ஷாப்ஸ்க்கு வர்றாங்களோ அவங்க புரிதலை ஏற்பட்டிருக்குது, அவங்க வந்து அதுல கொஞ்சம் மாற்றங்கள் கொண்டு வர்றாங்க. பட் எல்லா பேரண்ட்ஸ்க்கும் அது சாத்தியமாவும் இல்லைன்றதை நான் உங்கள்கிட்ட வெளிப்படையா சொல்லணும். பட் இட்ஸ் அ கண்டினியூஸ் ப்ராசஸ், மிஸ்டர் முருகன். So thank you for bringing that.
Thank you very much, sir. My special thanks to Srinivas Rao sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jim. Thank you very much for helping us to understand the whole issue. Thank you very much. So I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Even college level also we have the problem, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We will. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I really enjoyed this evening and thank you all very much for providing me this opportunity. Wish you all the best.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.